Hello, everybody, and welcome to EduMatch. Please follow along with us on Google Plus at bit.ly/tweettalk44, as well as on Twitter with the hashtag EduMatch. Speaking of EduMatch, we would love for you to sign up to be our featured person of the day. So if you go to edumatch.education and fill out the Google form, and we can tweet out all this really, really cool stuff about you. So looking forward to having y'all on there. So tonight's topic, we are going to be talking about a healthy curriculum for a healthy teacher. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We still have some panelists who may be having technical issues getting in, and our moderator as well. But she was kind enough to send in the questions ahead of time. So in the meantime, I will be asking them to our fantastic panelists that we have on panel. We have Shana and we have Josh. So Shana, could you please introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, Shana from Metro Atlanta. I am a middle school technology coordinator, and I'm excited to be here because I'm also a certified personal trainer, so I take fitness and wellness very, very seriously and to heart.
Yes, Shana is a great wealth of knowledge on the topic and on many others. And Josh, if you could please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Josh. I'm a principal at a junior high school in New Jersey. I'm not as fit as Shana, but I aspire to be.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you, Josh. Welcome back. And we have Donna who has joined us. Donna's our moderator for today. Donna, if you could please introduce yourself.
Hi, sorry I'm a little bit late by a couple minutes. I was having issues because I have such an old version of Mac, and I need to update my Mac. So Chrome is being a little bit spiteful with me, but I'm finally here, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you, Sarah, for asking me to do this. This is so much fun because I could talk about this stuff for hours. My name is Donna, and I am from Lift It Up Fitness, liftitupfitness.com. And that's pretty much my handle on all social media, whether it be Twitter or Facebook or any of that stuff. And I am a teacher. I started teaching in New York in 2002, and I'm also a personal trainer. I'm really into fitness and nutrition, and that was my first passion, my first love, and then I became a teacher later on. And so I kind of juggle both. Right now I'm not teaching. I'm currently doing full-time training, but I'm still a teacher at heart. I was teaching as of last year, and I'm probably going to go back to teaching soon. So I got my feet in both places, but I certainly do love talking about fitness and nutrition, whether it be for teachers or students or anyone for that matter. So this is going to be really cool. And I wanted to say, oh, so who's here? Shana's here. Hi, Shana. Nice to see you. I know you from the EduMatch circles. And who else is here? Can I see? Oh, is the microphone muted?
Yeah.
Josh? Okay. Hi, Josh. Hi.
Great. Great. Well,
Hey,
thank
Donna.
you so much for joining us, Donna. We are so excited to talk about this with you. So definitely looking forward to the conversation. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn it on over to you.
All right, cool. So I guess let's throw out some questions there, and anybody who wants to chime in and talk about this stuff as far as teachers, and loving to learn from you guys what tools that you've picked up along the way as far as planning your days or planning your weeks for healthy foods and healthy snacks that really energize you and fuel you up to keep you going throughout your day, because we all know that teachers need a lot of energy, and we also need to keep our immune systems super, super healthy and supported because we're around so many different germs. So I was just wondering if you guys have tips that you've come up with along the way that help you to give yourself the proper nutrition throughout the day, from breakfast, lunch, dinner, and all those snacks in between. And how do you plan for that? Does your school have healthy foods that you can choose from? Or are you packing your own stuff, and do you do meal prep once a week or a couple times a week? What do you guys do?
I guess I'll start. For me, it's been ingrained since I was little. My parents were really big at eating healthy. We rarely ate out. My mom normally cooked, and my mom was a teacher. So that's kind of been my general practice. For me, I prepare my meals for each lunch. I don't ever eat lunch at school. I always prepare my meals because I'm big on allotting portions. I have a nutrition coach, so she tells me what exactly to eat as far as the balance with proteins, carbs, and fats. The big thing I would say, and this is going to be probably like the worst thing to say, is water intake, because teachers' bladders literally are probably like the most the most like the strongest things I think in existence, probably next to like a steel wall, because there's so many times I've literally had to go run and find somebody to let me go to the bathroom. But my water intake has been essential to keeping me healthy. And I know a lot of teachers are worried about drinking water just because they know they have to go to the bathroom and they're like, I can't leave. I'm teaching back-to-back classes, whatever the case may be. So I would say water intake is huge, and it's a huge energy boost. People don't realize, and they don't take advantage of, that the sodas actually over time are more detrimental. A lot of times teachers will say at my school, I want to get a Diet Coke or a Coke, whatever the case may be, and I'm like, that little caffeine sugar jolt you get for the like 1 hour, maybe 2, is going to lead to an immediate crash, and so the rest of the day you're going to drag. I said, whereas water, I have energy all day. So I would say water definitely, and I would say prepping your meals in advance. Even if you know you're going to eat school lunch, looking at the menu and seeing what they're going to offer, and maybe saying, hey, you know what, this day I know they're serving pizza. I might not need to eat that. Maybe I need to prep my lunch that day. So that would be 2 tips that I've learned so far.
That's awesome. That's so, so cool. And so important, too, because water is definitely, like you said, a much better source of energy. Most of us are running around. The typical American is trying to caffeinate themselves throughout the day to get that what I call synthetic energy, and not realizing that just giving yourself that proper hydration with water, you won't need to turn to the Diet Coke or the coffee so much. And as our bladders we have to have our bladders on a clock, like a schedule, because we only have certain times of the day when we can go to the bathroom. And that, like you said, is something that's going to maybe keep teachers from thinking, well, I'm not going to drink all this water because I'm then going to have to go to the bathroom. That's so inconvenient. But your body does actually regulate after a while, too. So in the beginning, yeah, you might have to hit the bathroom a whole bunch of times, but after a while, your body does regulate, and you can recognize when you're really well hydrated and when you're not. And learning to turn to water, like you said, instead of turning to caffeine is such a great tip, I think. And like you said, also, depending on what school lunches you have available, sometimes some schools have really great salad bars and protein throughout the day where you can rely on the school cafeteria depending on where you work, and then other schools don't. So looking at the menu ahead of time, that's such an awesome tip. Like pizza day, like you said, maybe not a great source of fuel, so pack your own lunch on pizza day. I love that. That was really good, Shana.
As for you, and for me now?
Yeah, it's all you now.
Okay. For me, it's in a different role, because as a principal, sometimes we have to even fight for lunch, and finding a time to even snack. I used to prepare my lunch a lot, but now I have to basically choose the school lunches based on the day, because I don't know when I'll be able to eat or if I can actually eat. But I do have cases of water that I try to drink 3 bottles, sometimes even 4 bottles of water a day. And I try to pack some snacks like broccoli with some sort of ranch dressing, carrots. Those are things that I get my energy boost from. Or now I've been trying to use the like tortilla chips or something like that, just as a natural snack, just to hold me off.
Yeah, so that must be hard if you never know when you're going to have lunch. You don't know what time of day it's going to be. So having those snacks handy, that's got to be huge to hold yourself off from getting way too hungry or having your energy levels crash, I would think, right? So what about this? What about for your workouts? So when you're extra stressed out or you're pressed for time, or you're having some low energy, and it's those days where you're really just like, oh, I don't want to work out today. This is going to be super hard. It's so much easier to blow off the workout rather than doing it. What are some of the things you do to help motivate yourself, or what do you say to yourself to squeeze in that workout on those days when you're really pressed for time or stressed out, and you'd probably be more likely to blow off your workout?
Since Shana's going to have a whole lot to say with being a fitness guru, let me go first. I don't have much to say. I actually hadn't worked out in 2 years because ever since I turned 40, for some reason my body keeps breaking down. I don't know why, but I used to run about 4 to 5 days a week, ride the bike for 5 to 12 miles, and ever since I've plantar fasciitis and then spinal stenosis in the neck, and my body's just been breaking down. So what I try to do now is I just started back at the gym about a month ago, and I'm trying to go 3 to 4 times a week, just do the cardio in the morning, do some circuits, and that's really been working for me, just so I can build myself back up because I can no longer run, and that's been somewhat of my energy boost. I'm trying to get my energy level up because, again, I also work long hours. And some days I think I'm going to get out at 4, and it could be 8, 9, 10, and sometimes 11. I'm back at work 6:30 in the morning, and doing it all over again. So when I'm working really long hours, it's just difficult to find time to work out because I am really, really tired.
Yeah, that's just motivating in of itself. Just hearing you say that, your long days and respecting you as an administrator, and how one day you could, assume you're going to get out at a decent hour and end up there till 8, 9 o'clock at night, and that you still manage to prioritize and squeeze in a workout because you really know that it is good for you overall. That's inspiring, I'm sure, for a lot of people to hear that.
Since Josh says I have a whole bunch to say, I really actually am not going to prove him wrong, no. For me, the working out is the stress reliever. I lift really heavy weights, and so a lot of times I envision a lot of the people that I want to put in a headlock in my building, and I deadlift a lot of weight or bench press a lot of weight or squat a lot of weight as a stress reliever. The other thing I do, especially in my new role, is as a way to get exercise is when I get emails, instead of responding via email, I get up from my desk and I go walk and meet them wherever our building is. And I have a very large building. We have 2,200 kids in our building, so we have a big school.
Wow.
So instead of sitting at my desk and just responding via email, I'll get up and go talk face-to-face. That also helps with the communication because a lot of things can get misconstrued through email. And something that might be pressing or stressful for them, I can help lighten the stress when they actually visually see me in the room, especially if it's a technology issue where a teacher can't get a kid logged in, whatever the case may be. So I think building in some time, and I'm trying to encourage my APs, because I understand where Josh is coming from, because I work so closely with the APs in my building. They don't have time. It's meetings. If it's not in their building, it's at the district level, whatever the case may be. And so I've encouraged a lot of them to try to do the same thing. Instead of pinpointing issues with a walkie, go to the person and talk to them and then get some steps in the process. Take the stairs instead of the elevator because we have a 2-story building. Just those little nuances that you can do can make a huge difference. And a lot of times people don't realize that. It's just the small things. I work out extensively, but I tell people if you can get 15, 20 minutes in, that is just as good based on where you are personally in your life. And then down the road, you can get that hour in if you have time to do so. But you have to kind of work with what you have. And so anything is better than nothing is what I always preach, especially and Sarah knows this, I talk to a lot of my PLN people, and I say, I'd rather you do something than nothing. So if it's just walking around your neighborhood when you get home, do that. If it's walking around your building when you get in, do that. Whatever it is, as long as it's something that's better than doing nothing.
So true. I love that. I could not have anything more to say. You just said everything perfectly right there. I always say done is better than none. So don't let perfect be the enemy of good, right? So it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be X number of minutes. It just has to be something. And all those little somethings will add up to something greater than where you are right now. So that is awesome. That was really great. What was the other question I had? Oh, so what tactics do you employ, whether it's in the classroom, throughout the day, to keep you energized, to keep your body moving? You just mentioned, Shana, what you do as far as getting up and moving instead of answering emails or using the walkie. But are there any other strategies that you see maybe other teachers do when they're in their classrooms all day or with their students to either keep themselves moving or keep energized or keep their stress levels down?
Yeah, I would say for me it was easy because I was in PE. So I taught PE and health. It was easy to move. A lot of times I would jump in the games that the kids were playing. So a great opportunity to pelt kids when we played Bombardment or Star Wars, or to cross somebody up playing basketball. So I know our PE teachers do a really good job of jumping into games. What I see a lot of our academic teachers doing now, we call it our vitamin D walks, where when they leave from lunch, they take the long route outside of our school building to get the kids extra energy out. Sometimes they'll stop by. We have a blacktop area, and a lot of times the PE teachers, we were gracious enough to give them equipment that they can play with, so shoot, jump rope, that kind of stuff. So a lot of our teachers are taking advantage of those kind of like vitamin D walks. It's kind of like a mini recess for our kids once they leave lunch. So it gets the teachers outside, walking around, getting some fresh air, but also gets the students that, and a lot of them need it, especially now, as I was talking to Josh before you came on. We're starting week 2 of standardized testing, and the kids are just tired of being cooped up, just like the teachers are. So taking advantage of just, because we have great weather in Atlanta, getting outside, getting some fresh air, and running around and being active are things that I've seen a lot of our content area teachers do this year.
That's really cool. Josh, anything that you guys do at your school, or you see some of your teachers do?
Yes, we're part of the Alliance for Healthier Generation, and with the initiative, we're trying to, I guess, apply for these different type of level of, partnerships or whatever, acknowledgement, that's the word for it. We're actually like starting breaks, and students are either doing jumping jacks, stretching, running in place, actually during each instructional period, and that's something that we as a whole have decided to do. In addition, the students now go outside for lunch, and that's one of the ways I actually try to go out. Just whether I go out, I'm just walking, getting some grass time, but I don't run, obviously. But it's not a vitamin D walk, but at least get some vitamin D time, and out in the sun during lunchtime.
Is it difficult for the teachers to get some of the students, maybe, I don't know what grade levels, but maybe some of those adolescent kids that don't feel, so comfortable doing it? Or do some teachers have better ways of getting them, like, come on, let's do 10 jumping jacks right now, and then to get them to settle back down after? Have you seen anything being challenging in that area for certain age levels, or certain teachers being able to accomplish it easier than other teachers?
Of course, the teachers that are that hold the students more accountable, they're the ones who are able to get it back. And also, just when students know that they're working on something that's very important, and they don't want to devote any time outside of that, so they don't lose instructional time, they're the ones that, okay, let's do it for 2-3 minutes, let's stop, and then get back to work.
I love that. I was trying really hard to get that done in my school that I was at last year, and I think that is so important. I love that you guys are doing that there, and that you're supporting that as an admin. Your teachers are doing it. The fourth question, so what strategies do you use with your students or your teachers to promote movement and proper nutrition, to even just to get them thinking about the fact that what they eat and how they move their bodies really does directly correlate to their brain functioning and their performance in schools? Do you, or have you gone on any professional development, any types of things where you hear that this is becoming more talked about, and relaying that message through the teachers down through the students?
Well, at my school, again, applying for this healthier Alliance for Healthier Generation, but we were doing things before then, because we actually have a wellness committee now. I think it's going on 4th year, and my school nurse has really been a champion for that. Things like smoothie every quarter after school. We have Zumba. I think it's once every 2 months that actually goes on, and we open up for the entire district, and we have mostly half of the people that actually attend are students, mainly in my building. So that's one of the pushes. We also have a the Fuel Up to Play 60 with the NFL. We've been running that. We started that 4 years ago. It started with just 20 kids, and it became so much we had to have Boys and Girls Day because we just couldn't hold the capacity. And there's just 2 teachers that were just working. So my phys ed teachers, in addition to, like, I think one of my science teachers who's a rugby player and really a fitness guru, they're really pushing it, as well as my nurse. We also have Grab and Go for healthy nutrition, so we can get more students actually eating breakfast. That started 5 years ago, and it's just constantly pushing. We saw, like, we tried to correlate nutrition and academic achievement, and when we saw that when the grab-and-go bags where students who don't choose to come in because they want to wait outside to be with their friends. But when we started grab-and-go, we've jumped over 80% of students eating breakfast every morning.
Oh, wow, that's so great. That's awesome. So cool. Oh, wow. What about you, Shana? Do you see some strategies?
The only thing I can say that I know I do, I always try to talk to teachers because they know that I'm really big into fitness and health. With my professional development sessions that I have for teachers, I only offer healthy snacks. So the old guy that I replaced, he used to give like candy, that kind of stuff. I'd give veggie straws, pretzels, water. I don't provide sodas at all, but I do provide snacks for them when they come to my professional development. It's usually healthy ones. The big thing that a lot of people don't realize is that there's such a divide, I think, within schools that we don't really care about our teachers' health a lot of the times, and then teachers don't. They put it on the back burner, and it's got to be something that it comes to the forefront of their minds, because if they're not healthy, they can't educate kids. And they have to realize that kids are watching their example. And I can preach to the choir and say, hey, you know what? Don't drink soda, but if you see me at lunch, at the lunch table, drinking a Diet Coke, I mean, it's all for naught. And so kids are going to watch more what you do than what you actually say. And so I think our teachers have to do a better job of taking care of themselves and owning that, and realizing that kids are going to watch and they're going to model their behavior after them, because for a lot of our kids in schools, we're the role model they have. They might not have that at home. So if they see a healthy person role modeling that for them in the school every single day, they might pick up one or two tips. And I know when I taught in high school, a lot of my kids would come back to me after, and I still stay in contact with them. They're in their 20s now, and they're like, I remember you told me this. And I had one kid, he ended up losing 30 pounds based on the stuff that I told him. And he was like, it was only because you told me I could do it, and I watched that you were able to, the same things you told me to do, eat vegetables once a day, drink a lot of water. I did those little small things, and it made a huge difference. So I think the big thing is for us as educators taking ownership and realizing that if we model some of these behaviors, and it's, like I said, it's not all or nothing, there's no perfect equation, but if you model just one healthy thing, it can make a huge difference in that one kid's life. And that's ultimately what we're in education for, to impact at least one kid. We, of course, impact a lot more, but to realize that your healthy habits can really, really make a difference in a kid's life if they see you model it day in and day out.
Yeah, for sure. And it's so hard, too, because everything you said is so spot on, and we really are models, role models, and we do have a lot of power in our, to be influencing these students. And sometimes things that, like you said, they see you do and they start to hear you, and after a while they'll come up to you and ask you some questions like, yeah, I see you're always eating, apples and broccoli and stuff, and you're always drinking water, and you tell us all this, and I started doing it recently, and I'm really, and they ask you more, and they want to know more, and they want to know more. And so it's tough, though, to get teachers to buy into that. So at the district level, I see some school districts are trying really hard, having these wellness days and wellness fairs, and they're trying to reach out to the teachers and get them on board, but it's really not easy. I mean, some people are just gravitated towards health and fitness and nutrition, and others aren't. So what are some of the things that you see that schools are doing, though, right now to affect teachers, really to show on the administrative level or the district level that they care about their teachers, to try to get the teachers to buy in, not just the phys ed and the health teachers, but some of the other teachers? Are there anything that you see that schools are really doing a good job at as far as promoting some maybe after school stuff free of charge, or maybe health membership reimbursement or anything like that for teachers so that it does trickle down to the students?
In my district, we have, first of all, it has to be, I think a district wellness policy must be established, and it can just basically delineate all these things as far as promoting the wellness. Second thing, Horizon Blue Cross and Blue Shield has something called Horizon Be Fit that actually takes off $20 every month, as long as you, I think, go 12 times a month to any gym membership that the gym registers with Horizon, and has this automated way of tracking that you go to it. So with me just starting my gym, that was when I actually got on my gym, like, you better go register, because I'm going to go 12 times a month so I can actually get the $20 off, because I'm going for exactly $20 so I can go for free. That was my goal, attending that gym. So that's what we do in our school. My superintendent actually is a fitness guru, and he just found out he goes to Bali. He said he pays so much money a month, and he would have saved thousands over these years. So that's something that's being promoted in my district now because he just found out.
Right. Yeah, my husband's school, he works at a private school, and they do have a program where if he bought a Fitbit and showed the proof of the purchase, and then he has these quarterly phone calls with a health advocate, and the health advocate goes over his diet, nutrition, and his workout program, and then there is some kind of kickback as far as I think maybe $50 or something that they get checks back towards what they pay out in healthcare. So I think it's cool how there's different ways of doing it creatively from one school to the other, but it's nice to see that teachers are feeling that from the district level there is care for them to buy in on this, and then it will, like Shana was saying, trickle down to the students.
Yeah, I think, Josh said, that's awesome. Our district is not. And I think it's more or less because we are site-based, and plus our district is ginormous. Those are two big factors. But, I mean, we had teachers have yoga classes after school for teachers to engage in. But I think the big thing for me that I did, as, like I said, a health teacher, for me to get on board the health training, is I tried to do a lot of collaborative teaching with content teachers. I worked really closely with a language arts teacher and a social studies teacher when they were doing nutrition around the world. And I tied my nutrition unit to that. I also brought in food from Whole Foods that they had never tried before, so they had the chance to try kale chips, hummus, stuff that a lot of our kids had never experienced. And we tied our curriculums together. And I think that there are ways that a lot of times, I'm going to be honest, PE people, we always are on the outside. We're kind of like the black sheep of the building. Whenever you need a gym, you're first to call us, but if you ever need us to collaborate with educational related stuff, we're the last people you consider. And so I made a point to go and talk to my content teachers and said, what are y'all doing? What things are you? And so I want to tailor my units to that because I taught every single grade. 6th grade, what are y'all covering? Okay, you're talking about other worlds. Let me bring in the nutrition component to that. So I think also getting a lot of the help in PE teachers empowered to share their passion because they are in health and PE because they care about fitness and wellness. To share that with other teachers in their building could be huge to getting other teachers on board and also being a great example to students to show, hey, you know, your social studies teacher is collaborating with a PE teacher. A lot of times you're not going to hear that, but in my building they did. People would be like, oh, Coach White's working with so-and-so. And I'm like, yeah, I am. I want to make sure that not only are the kids learning content, but they're learning something that's going to be they can take when they leave the building. Because I always preface my class, I said, I think that math, science, social studies, language arts are vitally important, but if you're dead, you can't do any of those things. You can't be who you want to be. And so I need you to understand that your health should be the very first thing that you come to mind. I don't care how great you are at reading, math, science, and social studies. You can't go be that doctor, lawyer, architect, engineer without being a healthy body. If you have a heart attack at 25 or you contract some sort of disease, you can't live out your dream. And so I think making and prefacing that with students and realizing the sense of urgency with health is huge. And I think having those PE teachers, using them as a resource in your buildings and those health teachers can be vital and be very, very helpful.
Yeah, I think that should be a message that goes out, you know, nationwide to administrators to really, really promote that in their phys ed teachers and their health teachers, and also to really the teachers that are doing what you did, which is to reach out to the other ed teachers and try to collaborate with them. They should be commended and congratulated. So that, you know, it's kind of like a healthy competition type thing. Like, look, we really care about this, and we really want to give a shout out to those that are doing this. And I'm really curious, too, as far as what it's like now for someone, you know, 20-something years old going through their college education because they want to become a health or a phys ed teacher, hoping that maybe it's changed as far as the training for those teachers to be that person in the building like Shana was in her building when she was doing that, to make sure that they are those ones in the building that are reaching out and spreading that message, and, you know, not just staying confined out on the field somewhere where nobody sees them unless they're at a staff meeting. You know what I mean? I think that's super important. I hope that that's what's happening in the universities now, where they're getting trained.
I wanted to really thank you, Donna. Thank you to Donna. Thank you to Shana. Thank you to Josh. This has been a very, very empowering and enlightening conversation. I'm inspired to, to get up tomorrow and make better choices this week. So thank you all for your fantastic ideas. Thank you to everyone who is tweeting along with us, watching, chiming in with their thoughts. So this will be transcribed. You'll be able to see the archive, participate, learn, and in a few weeks it'll come out as an iTunes podcast. So next week we're going to be talking gamification. So would love to have anybody who's interested in the topic join us. You can do so by going to bit.ly/tweettalk45. And anyone can be a panelist. Just leave a comment on the Google Hangout page that I just listed saying panelist. So if you're interested in subscribing to the EduMatch podcast, just go to bit.ly/EduMatch podcast. And one last announcement, anyone who's in the DC area, check out EdCamp Maya F, which will be May 7th at Maya Angelou French Immersion School in Temple Hills, Maryland. So you can register for that at www.edcampmayaf.com. So thank you again to our moderator, to our panelists, and to everyone, and hopefully everyone has a great, great week.
You guys, thank you so much. Have an awesome evening, everybody. Ciao.